I'm
changing chairs so you
yes,
see that, right?
I'm sorry.
No.
Can't let Josephine
Yeah.
not sit
Sitting
down.
on there. Okay. Here we go.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
Okay,
We're good.
the hour is a little after 7:30. It's about 7:35 almost, and we're a little late, but this is a regular scheduled Macedonia Council meeting, and I'd ask that the clerk please call the roll.
Mr. Bilkey.
Here.
Mr. Engel. Ms. Hannigan. Mr.
Here.
Molnar, Mr. Molnar.
Here.
Ms. Tully. Here.
Okay. We have a quorum, so we can proceed with our meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask that the invocation and pledge of allegiance be done by our city chaplain, Commander Tom O'Brien, American Legion Post 801. Please rise.
With bowed heads, let us pray. Almighty God, as we come together for this evening Macedonia Council meeting, we ask that you bless our council members so that they may work together for the common good of our citizens. We ask, Almighty God, for your blessing for those living in the flood areas of Texas, Florida, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico who have encountered hurricanes. These storms have produced floodwaters, food shortages, medical needs, and the need for drinking water and fuel. Help those who are suffering through your loving hands, so to comfort and console the millions of people who are now in need of your love. Almighty God, as your humble servants, we thank you for, through our prayers, for all that you have given us. Lastly, we ask that you watch over our sick who suffer from mental or physical illness, as well as those who suffer from financial hardship. And now please join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain. Another fine job. Tom, you did miss a heck of a ceremony, by the way. It was excellent how everything turned out at Memorial Park.
I was out of time.
And Tom was one of the spearheads, by the way, of helping create that. And it absolutely turned out gorgeous. It's, you know.
Yes, it has. And
Yeah.
it's only going to get better.
It's only going to get better. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this time, I'm going to call on Rhonda Hall, our finance director, and she's going to call up Lindsay Blair. And
Thank you. Rhonda Hall, Finance Director for the City of Macedonia. I want to introduce from the State Auditor's Office, Lindsay Kuhn, who's going to be presenting the city with the Auditor's Award. Lindsay?
I said Blair, didn't I?
Well, I have many aliases.
Okay. It says Blair.
I'm actually Lindsay Kuhn Blair, but it's transitioning. It's a whole thing. So, well, thank you very much. I am so honored to be here this evening on behalf of the great auditor Dave Yost. Again, my name is Lindsay Kuhn Blair, and I like to say that this isn't a shakedown up front so that you all will listen to what I'm saying. This is actually very good news that I'm here for this evening. We audit about 5,900 government entities across the state of Ohio, but very few even qualify to receive an award from our offices for a clean audit, let alone then actually receive the award. And a lot of folks don't realize what's involved in receiving a clean audit. I think that folks just think you can, crunch numbers on paper and, send in a report and be done. But there's so much more involved in terms of compliance and regulatory issues and working with your administration and really understanding the law. And right now, I have to say, as we were speaking earlier, I believe this is the first award that has ever been received from our office, as far as I know. And that's quite a feather in your cap, I believe. And I will just read, I promise, I know I'm getting a little lengthy here. I'll just read the juicy parts of the letter from Dave. But essentially, this is for a clean audit, and that means that there were no findings for recovery, material citations, material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or questionable costs. And again, like I said, that goes back into compliance. It's not just about, adding a couple of numbers together and calling it a day. There's so much more involved, and you really are an expert at your craft, and you've got a wonderful team in place that, really works, again, with your administration and your council, and it's just really incredible to see how things have come along over the last few years. And I was just speaking with your team, actually, and they were saying how they feel so good at the end of the day when they go home. And that just really gave me goosebumps. Most auditors don't get goosebumps, but that happens. So with that being said, I would love if you would stand up, and I would love to hand you the certificate. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Oh, sure.
Do you want to come down too?
Well, if you want me to,
I think we should. Absolutely.
I had a very little part. It was more of yours. Other than my good judgment in hiring you, that's, I actually have to be proud of this too, because out of all the years that I was mayor before and coming back to have such a clean audit is just remarkable.
It is remarkable.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I do have to thank, though, the finance department that helps me out quite a bit all the time, every day, and if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't get this award either. Andrea Mayo's here, Laura Welsh is here, Patty Kursak, and Lisa Hamrick are not, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. That's certainly, it's exciting, by the way, just to have a clean audit. I mean, back in the day when we were trying to buy talent, if you will, for the city, for the finance department, we were always coming up a little short, never having the ability to hire the quality of people that we currently have. I mean, hiring Rhonda was obviously a great find for the city, and our hats are off to her for such an excellent job in keeping the city so clean and without any without any even remarks is just amazing, because as many audits as I have been through in the city, and there was a lot, I've never seen one as clean as this, and we thank you, Rhonda, for bringing that home for us. It's like bringing home the pennant. So thank you.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Just one brief thing. In my time here, I think we've had 8 finance directors, I believe. So it's very refreshing to not have a flippant approach to what we're doing. So I respect what you've done, your staff, and please tell them that I think I can speak for all of council, thank you for that.
And as the finance chair for the past 2 years, it's been wonderful to know that the numbers we're given are the numbers that are facts. And that if we say to you, do you have more or another dollar, and you say no, we're not going to go try and find it. It's not there. It's fact. Thank you to all of you. Andrew, we've lived through quite a few.
Yeah.
Thank you to
Again,
all your
thank you.
department. Thank you both.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to public comments at this time. Oh, I'm sorry. The approval of the minutes of our September 14th, 2017 regular meeting.
So made.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is the public comment portion of our meeting. And I see that Kathy Loya is here. And Kathy, please step forward.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Loya. My address 9186 North Bedford Road. I've been unable to attend the last couple of council meetings, but I've viewed most of those online. Stormwater seems to have been not such a priority over the past couple months, probably because it's been so dry, and it seems like we always seem to forget when it's so dry. It was nice at least to see that there was an ordinance passed, I think it was at the last meeting, about the Sioux Lane culvert. So That's positive. I, however, am disappointed that I have not yet received any type of feedback or comments from the remarks that I made at the July 27th meeting. But I'm kind of used to that, to tell you the truth. I do have a couple of questions that I am hoping I can get some feedback on tonight. First off, what's the date for the NEORSD presentation from their stormwater study?
Joe, did we lock down on that date yet? I know that we have had the.
No, we haven't locked down a date, but we can bring them in to address the council and the audience at any time we like. So.
Okay, because we've had our preliminary meetings with them so that we could talk about where they're at, what they're doing, and how soon are they going to have some sort of presentation for us, because we wanted them to be here. Actually, we were hoping to do it this month, but we'll try to shoot for perhaps our first meeting in October.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them right away to
Okay,
establish
so
a
that
date.
we'll have it maybe at 7 o'clock or 6:30 perhaps. We'll have a meeting, and that way residents can come in and we'll have it for 1 hour.
That would be great. Also, what's the date for the demolition on 883 Iroquois Run?
Joe, again, they were supposed to have started about a week ago.
Exactly, yeah, and we're just simply waiting for our contractor to let us know when he's going to move into town to take care of that. And we've also hired him to construct the detention pond as well. So he'll be doing both items, one for the land bank, free of charge to the city, and the retention pond for us.
Yeah, yes, I've gotten questions on that too. Are you indicating it'll be done before the end of October? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, I'm certainly sure of that. So we're just waiting for
You're
him
expecting
to let
it
us know. Yeah,
momentarily.
we're
Okay.
expecting him to mobilize very soon. I mean, he's clear to go on our end. So
Yes,
I
okay.
hope he takes advantage of the nice weather we've been having at least.
Absolutely.
that makes two of us.
So my third question just has to go along with Ledge Road. I'm not sure where the city stance is as far as working with Northfield to have anything done on that. But I had questioned a couple months back as far as the stormwater runoff underneath Ledge Road Bridge, the railroad bridge, how it's been closed the past couple times, and I know that there was some clean out that was done, but with the rain that we had in July, it was closed yet again. My concern is that there's no conduit, there's no pipe from the west side to the east side. It has to go on the road. The water has to go on the road. That can't happen. Something has to be done to address it. I don't know if it was just the railroad when they redid the bridge that they didn't think about that, but it's an issue.
There are catch basins located on the west side of the bridge. What caused the closures with the storms we had where debris had washed down and completely covered the grates where we had to go in and clear them. Once we do that, I mean, the water does begin to recede right away, and there was one pipe coming off of South Freeway that was just discharging water at a fast rate, shooting straight out to Ledge Road.
Mm-hmm.
We put an attachment on that pipe to angle it down into the ravine to the catch basin as well.
Okay, thanks.
So it should be corrected? Should be
hope so.
corrected as of now?
Yeah, should we just haven't had the rains that we're.
Right, well, we haven't had a good
Yeah.
test for a month and a half, right?
Yeah, I'm just concerned because I don't see any way that the water can flow from one side of the bridge to the other side of the bridge. I mean, I know where the water goes once it gets to the east side of the bridge, but getting it underneath that area under the bridge, it's just, I guess I just don't see where it goes.
Water's traveling east to catch basins on the west side of the bridge, traveling east to a storm structure on the east side of the railroad trellis,
Okay,
and then down to Indian Creek.
okay, all
Hey,
right.
John, is there
Great.
any way, other than physically removing the debris? Because I think that has a lot to do with why the water backs up. The debris covers the grates, and then the water's no place to go. Is there any other way other than just going there and moving it?
There was riprap placed further up the ditch line heading west on Ledge Road as well, because a lot of debris was coming from the Norfolk driveway apron. So we extended a riprap up that way to catch more material, and it has limited what has come down. That we were getting in the past, we used to completely cover it, and you'd have 2 foot of just debris covering it completely.
Okay. Well, on another note, I just wanted to thank not only Macedonia, but all of Nordonia for the Veterans Memorial Park. I was a member of the band that played for that ceremony, and it was absolutely spectacular. The job that the service crew did, I mean, I drove by many a time, and you guys were busting your hump out there, so congratulations, and I think it's a huge asset for all of Nordonia, so thank you all.
Yeah, thank you for that. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Can we
Yes.
say not only thank you to Kathy, but there was another person in her household who actually played the taps. And I believe there's also Miss Biber, who is also a resident in that band. Thank you for being there.
Yes, actually, I think the band brought an extra special part of the whole event that was really nice to see you all there. Okay. Next is pending legislation and new legislation, obviously, and the first one is an ordinance 87, 2017.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 87, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried.
An ordinance amending ordinance 19, 2017 relative to the annual appropriations for additional expenditures of the City of Macedonia for the period January 1, 2017 to December 31st, 2017.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 87, 2017, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 88.
Mr. Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 88, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Brad Wisniewski, the position of full-time membership and special programs coordinator within the City of Macedonia's Parks and Recreation Department.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 88, 2017 to the post according to law.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 89.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution number 89, 2017 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the Summit County Fiscal Office.
Okay, further reading.
This is housekeeping that we have to do every year, so we're not rushing anything through. If we don't do this, we can't get our money. So, Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we pass and post according to law resolution number 89, 2017, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Again, are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 90.
This is another housekeeping one. Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we offer for first, second, and third reading resolution number 90, 2017, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried.
A resolution authorizing the advance of local taxes by the Summit County Fiscal Office to the City of Macedonia for the 2017 tax year payable in 2018.
You've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we pass and post according to law or resolution number 90, 2017, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item is a motion and other legislative action.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion authorizing the police chief to accept on behalf of the City of Macedonia K-9 Unit a donation from lakefront floor covering with a value of $500.
Okay.
A donation, the wording I put in there wrong.
In the amount of.
Yeah, the donation is $500. There's no flooring. The way the
I
memo
didn't,
was.
it's,
yeah. I
I
know.
didn't say.
Yeah.
Right.
So just to make this clear, it's not flooring.
It's not
from a
flooring,
flooring
it's
company.
a check.
Monetary donation.
Okay,
We have
we have a motion. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the $500 contribution. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Any correspondence?
No, sir, other than what you want to make a comment about.
Yeah, the only correspondence which I'll share with you is that if you look up here, you see all these beautiful thank yous. I had the opportunity, which is probably one of the most exciting things that I do as mayor, and that's to go to talk to kids that are in grade school. And I had an opportunity to go to St. Barnabas and talk to all the first graders. So sent me all those thank yous in front of us here, and you can only imagine the questions that little kids ask you. I mean, you sit there, and then you're trying to talk with them, you know, first graders, and you're trying to tell them what you do as mayor every day. And, you know, the questions that come out, do you like your job? You know, the kind of questions were really hilarious in nature. And obviously, out of like, there must have been 60 kids in the class, so is there that many thank yous though? But it was fun, and it's just something that's nice to be done by having a mayor come in and talk with the kids. I'm sure it's very impressionable, and I thank the kids for sending me their thank you. So I just wanted to share that with you. Mayor's reports, I just want to say that the Oz event went on this weekend, and it went on without any glitches. I think it turned out as well as we could expect. I think there were still some rough edges that need to be fixed up, and I think we now have learned a little bit more about when we do these types of events into the future and how we deal with someone that is wanting to do a sponsored event by themselves, or in some cases with the city. And you know, it's not like the Fun Fest where we are working towards an event that you start almost a year ahead of time and you're working towards getting it up and going. This was kind of something that just kind of evolved very quickly, and we had no idea whether or not an Oz Festival was going to be a good thing or a bad thing for the city. But having said that, I think it did turn out okay. There were some little glitches of outages of power, but there was nothing to speak of that was anything significant that impacted upon the city and security or anything else. So Don Davis did a good job, and I was told that there were, by him, that there were approximately 15,000 patrons that came through, or participants, if you will. So I thought that was pretty good. I probably have a lot of other things to talk about, but I won't. I mean, we're, as you can see, Starbucks is just about ready to open on 82. Just to talk about that, we're dealing with Dunkin' Donuts, another Dunkin' Donuts, by the way. And I need to preface this, by the way, because it's really important. I know I've said this before, and residents will say, well, why do we need another fast food restaurant? Or why do we need another mattress company? Or why do we need another Dunkin' Donuts? Well, the answer to that is we do not control a piece of property from the standpoint of other than zoning and if it meets zoning. Now, you certainly, as a mayor and planning commission, can kind of steer something that you may want more than something you don't want. But on the short of that is that company and that property owner has an absolute right, if they meet all their zoning requirements and meet all of our aesthetic values, to put up 10 Dunkin' Donuts on 82 or 10 mattress companies on 82. We don't control that. I wish we could say, well, we don't want another mattress company or we don't want another fast food, but we can't. It is economic development, and obviously a company that's a big company that's coming in, they obviously have done the demographics. They certainly know whether or not they're going to make it into this marketplace. And they're going to be a taxpayer. So they're going to develop a site, they're going to pay more real estate tax, they're going to pay more payroll tax and profit tax. And hopefully they're successful in what they do. So if I had my druthers about it, I would say, no, I don't want another Dunkin' Donut. Or, no, I don't want another mattress company. But I don't have that ability to do that as a mayor. And this administration can't deny somebody if they're legally on solid ground with their zoning and what they're proposing. So I want to make that absolutely, unequivocally clear. We have no control in that area. I can certainly steer them with the best aesthetic values, and we do that. I have met with, for instance, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I have met with them 3 times already and rearranged their building on the corner of Highland and Route 8 and have made them go to a very colonial brick building. That just doesn't happen. You have to sit there and meet with them and critique their plan and change it and turn it and twist it, as we did with Northwoods subdivision, where Pulte was coming in and we sat probably at least 7 or 8 meetings where we sat down and we went over the aesthetic values and the things that the city wanted to see in there and made sure that their covenants and restrictions were very strong, and addressed a lot of issues. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So before it gets to the Planning Commission, this administration works very hard with a newcomer that's coming in to make sure that we're crossing all of our T's and dotting all of our I's. And by the way, the subdivision that's just below that had that water blowout with their pond, what was that, preserve?
The preserve.
The preserve. The contractor was in there today and dredged their retention basin for them. So that work has been done, and I believe that contractor's doing additional work for the Preserve Homeowners Association in there. So it's to their satisfaction. We're happy it's done. We were a part of making that all happen, and we think we have it resolved. So, and by the way, the Northwoods subdivision has met all of its siltation control devices, put up the proper fencing, have now working detention basins, and we will never have that situation where it gets blown out again like they did, because there were some breaches in that system. So those things do happen. And there was only one breach, by the way, as I remember. Correct, Joe? Like I said, we're also working on the curb cut on Route, well, I didn't say this before, but I'll say it now. We're still working on the curb cut going into the crossings on Route 8 to get in right over there by Chipotle and where Great Escape is. We believe we have 100% concurrence. We're just waiting for Giant Eagle to finalize. With that, we will have 100% for assessment. This is 100% assessment, so let's make that very clear. City doesn't have to spend any money. This is 100% assessment to all of the property owners in the crossing. They will pay for this curb cut, and they will put in a road that will lead off of Route 8, which will have a right in and right out. And those that are in the crossings area that go to Lowe's or wherever, they can come back out onto Route 8 and get on Route 8 heading in a southerly direction. And those that are traveling from Route 82 heading towards Highland Road, for instance, will be able to obviously have a right into the crossing. So that intersection right now, by the way, has around 42 to 43,000 cars a day. And if we, by putting this relief valve into that point there that we're putting this new access point in, it will relieve that intersection quite a bit. There's about 8,000 cars a day that go into the crossings. So if you can eliminate a portion of that coming back out onto 82, it'll be a relief, if you will, because the traffic that's heading in a westerly direction after it gets past Route 8, heading towards old Route 8, it gets very congested at that intersection. So if the lanes, where we had at least 3 lanes in through there, would probably help out a whole lot all the way down into Northfield Center there. And someday I think that certainly will happen. There's certainly enough right-of-way to do that. So I've talked with the trustees about that, and that's something that I think that should be worked on with ODOT to make that happen into the future. Actually, that intersection at Brandywine and Old 8 would make a perfect roundabout right there. So, so we're still working on that. We're still working on the Marriott, and we're hopefully moving forward with something on that. As I said before, we're also working on some redevelopment at the corner of Highland and 8, in addition to the KFC. And obviously, we're very happy that we passed legislation that to deal with the motel-hotel situation and the occurrences of things that may occur there that are in violation of the law, so that we can actually have a officer present at those locations, which would be hired, by the way, by the owners of that property. So in the event that we have a number of events that occur within a 90-day period, it forces them to hire off-duty police officers to stand guard, if you will, at a hotel. Sounds kind of bad, but unfortunately we have a situation that we're trying to cure. I'll probably remember something else as we go down the road here, but at this time I'm going to call on any committee reports.
I'd just like to make one comment. It's that time of year. We just finished getting an award for a wonderful audit. We now have to put together the 2018 budget. I would ask council to look at their calendars. I'm only going for Thursdays, since that way we keep the meeting on the same day as our council meetings. I will send out a note, but we're looking at doing our first one on October 19th, November 2nd. I think it's November 6th and December 7th. Might be November 16th.
16th.
Yeah, I forgot the one. 16th. So that it's not on council night meetings, it's on the other. We will have the same process as we've done for the past 2 years, where the administration and the department heads will present their budget, and we'll have discussion around that. And then that is the operating budget, and then we'll also take care for the capital improvement budget, with the goal of having something passed at our last meeting in December before the holiday break. And I hate saying that, but next week's October, so we got to get moving. I really would like to not pass a temporary budget for the first quarter, but go in full-blown like we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on to department reports. John?
Do you want to talk about the dedication at all, or no?
Well, you can talk about it if you
Okay,
want.
I crossed off my list.
Well, I talked about it the week before. We had the dedication, but
Yeah, we had it since after the meeting.
Yeah.
On September 16th, we did hold the dedication for Phase 1 of Veterans Memorial Park. Didn't take a head count, but I believe we had over 100 in attendance there. The band did set the stage for the event. It was very nice. It had 2 keynote speakers, gave excellent speeches, and just it was a good reminder what it is to be American here. Everything, the unveiling, we're really proud to see it out there for everyone to enjoy. It is open, so if you want to go there to walk around, feel free, and hope you enjoyed it as much as we did putting it all together. With that being completed, we have resumed our spot patching. We're going to be going over into Merline and Briarwood, are the next 2 roads that we'll be doing. Street trees for the developments are new trees for for properties that have been waiting. 107 in total have been ordered. These are for Thousand Oaks, Parkview Estates, Canyon Woods, and Bel Air subdivision. Once those are put in, all homes, other than the ones that have already died or been cut down, have been planted throughout the city. So then we can go focusing on doing our replantings. Our stump grinding, we're getting quotes for. We did start earlier this year. We stump ground 45, and we still have 51 yet to do. We need assistance from a contractor because what held us back was the floodings that we were having in the summer months, pushed back other jobs that we had to get completed, and didn't get the traction that we were hoping to keep going with that. So we are getting a contractor to go into the Crow area to start over there, because there's 30 stumps in that area alone. And then other areas we'll be going to are Rolling Hills, Park Ledge, and Thousand Oaks as well that are in need of grinding. And our leaf collection will be tentatively started on the 16th. I did make a mistake in the messenger. I put the 23rd, but it is the 3rd week of October, so it will be the 16th. We may do a little bit of a different process this year, where instead of following the street activity sheet, dividing the city up into 3 sections of zones and concentrating just in those areas, so we can just keep the machines in a smaller location to try to help pick up the piles faster. This is going to help with, we doubled our pickup last year in the quantity that we had in previous years, so we're hoping this will be a help for us. Our 4th machine is on order. We will get next year. And granted, if we have the manpower to staff, we will be running 4 machines, as long as our 22-year-old machine still holds up. And that's all I have.
So that's October 16th.
Yes, it is.
Can you remind people where to put their leaves?
I was going to do that at the next council meeting, so because it'll be prior to, so we get a
But
whole
it's-
refresher.
I've already seen some in the street on top of the stormwater grates.
Sure. Yeah.
Please don't do that. All it does is stop it up and cause water problems.
We can try to issue letters again. We've done in the past, but it didn't seem to fare too well.
John, I just have to chime in with I mean, I gave accolades to the service department, but there's certainly, they stepped up to the plate, you and all your men. That Memorial Park would have never gotten done but for that dedication and effort that was put into making that happen. We were under a time crunch in getting that thing built, and I mean, I was probably there almost every day myself, but there were certainly 3 veterans that worked very, very hard, and that was Dan Davis and David Pretash and Frank Pozar. They actually physically came in and they were laying the pavers after the concrete had been poured, in which they did a great job. I mean, they were on their knees, and these weren't young whippersnappers. They were up there in age to be doing all this type of work. And I give them a lot of credit, because I know that just kneeling down there trying to do the work has got to be tough on their knees. But it all turned out so well with the monuments and the flag poles, and Brian Schumann, who did all the electrical, and Mike DeBrouse with the concrete. And, I mean, we just have some very talented individuals in our department that were able to get the job done. So I know that there were days that John would take off his director's outfit and get in his work clothes and move on down there and start working as well. So we thank you for all that hard work and effort, because it is something really to be proud of in this city. I mean, it is something that is just remarkably beautiful, and I'm just at awe when I drive by it at nighttime, especially because of the lights and how it looks. So I think everybody needs to be really, really proud. And that's, by the way, it's only the first phase. And I don't know that I had made this announcement at the last meeting, but I was able to, I had lunch with Brock Milstein a few weeks back, and I encouraged him to make a contribution towards the Veterans Memorial. He's going to give $10,000, and we're going to use that $10,000 to build the restroom. So we're going to get all of the materials and everything, and we'll have our guys build the restrooms that will be there. Will be handicap accessible. So I want to thank him, and I'm actually going out and asking for other contributions from other individuals towards that towards our memorial, if you will. So hopefully we'll get some more dollars so that we can do other things there as well. But I have to say that both the Veterans Post, the VFW, and the American Legion Post, they really stepped up to the plate as well. I mean, they did a fantastic job in their fundraising efforts. They've been very dedicated. The committee met religiously. I mean, it was like almost, I think, every Tuesday that we had a meeting, John. They were there like clockwork, and very dedicated to moving forward and making this thing happen. I think it was due to their persistence and their keeping the ball rolling, if you will, that made us get this done as quickly as we did. So I thank everybody for that effort. So.
Can I make one request? I was speaking to Mr. Davis. He was directing traffic at the festival for his son, and talked a lot about the memorial and how beautiful it was. One of the questions he had asked, and Josephine did some investigation for me, is that there is the 100-year time capsule. Do we know where it's at up there? They really want to know where it's at so that we either mark it or know where it's at so that we don't build over it.
Yeah. You know, obviously I have things in that time capsule, so, but the best memory I have of where that's at is, if you're looking at the gazebo, it's to the left of the gazebo.
Can we mark it before
Well,
we do anything more?
I think we're gonna have to maybe do some probing or
Yeah,
do
'cause
it.
Josephine's investigation didn't
Are there
find
two
exactly where it's
capsules?
located.
There's two
One we
capsules.
No.
already took out though, right?
One's already been taken out,
Right.
that was taken out in 2005, and when John Hauser left in 2000, if I have a moment, if I'm allowed, when John Hauser left in 2000, he said, he reminded everyone to take the capsule out in 2005, which they did do, and what my recollection of that is everything was kind of rotted. So then the next time capsule, when we celebrated our 100 years, they put another time capsule in, about 2005, about that time. Might have been a little bit later. But we actually bought a quality device, time capsule device for, as a matter of fact, the Fire Association donated over $400 toward it. And that is still buried. So it's somewhere at the park, but my minutes don't indicate where, they only indicate the time and how much money and that sort of thing.
Yeah. All John says is Hauser said, it's there.
Do you
So
happen
we
to
need to
remember
find it.
where the was
Well-
pulled up? Because I was told one was by the pine tree.
There was a committee for this, and
I'm
I
not sure
believe
which
Mr.
one it
Leparo,
was.
you were on the committee. So if you could find out who the committee was, maybe they'll recall who, and I don't have a list of who the committee, but Mr. Leparo's name keeps coming up. So perhaps he has recollection of this, please.
You have a recollection, Chuck? Huh?
For the time capsule?
Time capsule, do you know where it's at?
Nope.
No.
No.
And it doesn't come out till, was it 2095
Well,
or
according to Mr.
something?
Hauser's, the minutes, 2095, and then there's another section, 50 years. So I don't think anybody
Anyway,
Let's put it this
I
way,
leave
we're not
that-
going to be here for that one.
I just leave
Not even in
that,
spirit.
Well, speak for yourself, so,
I can guarantee you won't be here either.
it's not that long. I actually leave that with you because they want to make sure that it's recognized and at the same time that we don't pave over it or do something over it.
There's
And-
also, if I may interject, a bicentennial, 200-year one, that was with all 4 communities. And Dr., she's in front of me and I can't think of her name right now. She spearheaded Macedonia section and all 4 communities got involved. And I believe that that's at Sagamore Park. That's a 200-year one.
okay. Well, I have a metal detector, so we can go around and try to figure out where it may be. So we'll try that.
Be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure. I know there's probably some metal objects in there. I don't know if it's going to go through it, but we'll certainly try.
Maybe mark it this time.
Yeah.
Just for instance, to try to market
Maybe,
this.
maybe like a little stone or
We could
something.
make some kind of little plaque for it. And you may
I'm
find a lot of
GPS
money from
locator,
the
which
kids.
will probably be obsolete by that time, but.
We used to
something.
always have Santa and Rudolph up there, so gosh knows what you might find when you're
Well, you might want
metal
to call,
detecting.
you know, the company that does the markings before you dig. Yeah. Oops. We call oops, and maybe they'll come out and have, because they have a deep detector.
And then if we could just communicate to Mr. Davis,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let him know that we're gonna go look
Yeah, we'll
for
try
it.
to find it.
And yes, it really is there, but we don't know where.
We're on the hunt.
Okay.
Okay, Joe, are you done, John?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Thanks, Mayor. Hey, and while you're mentioning people who worked on the Veterans Park, you might want to mention Ron Ferrum as well.
Yes.
You failed to mention his name, but I know he did quite a bit of work, brickwork and. Okay.
Yeah, I was, thank you for reminding
Sure.
me, because he really was one that took this project to heart because of his father, who had died of Agent Orange about a year ago, who was in Vietnam. And he actually planted, I need to mention this, he planted his father's medal in an encapsulated box into the footer under the main monument, which is deep in there. So we got some pictures of that. That's pretty cool. So,
And
Okay,
to
Joe.
Mr. Molnar's point, we'll have the survey crew locate the time capsule once we know where it is, so it'll be on a permanent map. We won't have to go through this again. So. On a serious note, brief update on the road program. Final top coat of asphalt started to go down on Wednesday for the 7 streets that are currently under construction. And we hope to have all of those roads with the final top coat of asphalt complete by Monday. And our contractor will then move into the miscellaneous asphalt repairs and the preventative maintenance items that are in the contract. The I-271 sound wall that ODOT has been doing is substantially complete at this point. That's the sound wall near Summer Road by the Arby's on I-271. I'm sure most of you have seen it. We do have the word Macedonia on the wall, which is nice. And the only other item I was going to touch on was the cleanup of the dirt and the mud out of the pond for the preserve at Valley View. The mayor touched on that earlier. We're happy to see that that cleanup took place earlier today.
Can I ask you to elaborate a little bit on our road program? Because there's been a lot of banter that's been going around on Facebook, and I'd rather have it come from the city engineer than myself. The method that we're using is not the cheapest method.
No, it's not.
We are not cutting corners on paving roads. Some of the insinuations were that we took the cheap route and things like that, but a mill and fill would be your cheaper alternative, am I correct?
That would be the cheapest way out. Yeah.
And what we're doing will give us life to those roads. We estimate at least 20 years, roughly.
Absolutely, and even longer if we keep up with the proper preventative maintenance.
And then finally, just to touch on the driveway aprons, can you kind of touch on how that works and what they're going to be doing? Because I know there was some confusion as to what the process was with that.
Sure, yeah. The final top coat that's going down, of course, is not at the exact same grade or elevation that the old road was at for a lot of reasons. So the contractor takes the first 2 feet of each jive apron to create a smooth transition. Now, while that work was taking place, I think there was a little concern or confusion as to, hey, is this what my driveway is going to look like when the product is finished? And the answer is no, it's not finished. And I guess to that point, if there are any other concerns or questions, I would show somebody or direct them over to Laurel Drive or Roseland Drive where the product is finished and take a look at it. And, I'd be confident that everybody would be very happy with that finished product.
And is the easiest way to tell it's finally done is because it's lined?
That's true.
Because people kept saying, I run Barkdale. It's like, it's not done. No, it's not done. It's done. This is the way you finish it. No, it's not done yet. So when the lines are down, we're done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Actually, Joe, I got a call on one of those driveways. There was as they went by when they were grinding, apparently they took out a corner of a concrete which was obviously still in the right of way, but
Okay.
we need to take a look at that one.
All right. Do you have an address, or does Diana?
Yeah, I have an address on it. I'll give it to you tomorrow. So,
Yeah, let me know. We'll check it out.
okay. Angela?
Thank you. I'd like to thank council for the approval of the legislation tonight to replace our marketing and membership coordinator. It is long overdue. We talked about this in the work session, but before the levy passed, we were advertising this and reducing it down to part-time. We did not fill that at a part-time rate, so we did, after the levy passed, we were able to go out and advertise this back at full-time. So just so there's no confusion, this is not a new position. This is one that has been vacant, and this is a replacement hire. So we're excited to get Brad in there, and I will learn 100% how to pronounce his last name correctly. It should roll off the tongue. I'm Polish, so it's Wisnowski. So thank you. Just an update on the pools. Our pools have been closed for 2 weeks, and I keep reiterating what work is being done, and I'm still asked almost every day what we're doing. So we're almost complete. We've been closed for 2 weeks, and we had a 2-week project for the resurfacing of the lap pool. This was the first resurfacing of this pool ever. I mean, we had the original surface still on that pool from when it was new construction. So it was well overdue. People who, complain and think that it looks like there are piles of sand or dirt in the pool, it's actually where the white surface has worn away, and that's actually concrete showing through. So it's not that it's dirty or full of sand, it's the concrete was showing through. So it needed to be resurfaced. The crews did a great job. They did complete the project. We are almost full. We've been filling the lap pool for about 3 days. We had all the pumps and motors taken out for servicing. Those returned yesterday. And we'll take over the weekend to clean up all of the dust and debris that kind of got everywhere when they were sanding off the surface. And we'll take that time to get the pool water up to temperature in time for opening on Monday. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Rhonda?
Thank you. I just want to thank you all for your comments. It was nice. Thank Lindsay for coming here to give us the presentation of the Auditor's Award. We did try to get Dave Yost himself, but unfortunately he is running for, I think, another
Governor.
position, so he had another event. Obviously a little bit more important than us. But I do have to say that I have to reiterate the thanks that I give to Patty and Andrea in our department for helping me last year as much as I think I helped them. So I learned a lot from them, and I'm hoping they learned a lot from me. And then Lisa and Laura came on a little bit later for this year. So we have a good crew right now. It's going to be good. Hopefully we'll get it again this year.
Great.
We've gone through the senior snowplow applications. If you've been approved, you'll be receiving something from the service department. If you have not, you'll be receiving something from me. It'll be a letter saying that unfortunately you might have been denied based on the income level or any other requirements that might not have been met. We did have John Notavant actually spoke to the contractor, the snowplow contractor, and he has agreed to a rate, and I'm going to include that information. We're going to get the information from him tomorrow. So once we get that in writing, I'll include that in the letters so that way you have the opportunity, since you can't get it through the City of Macedonia, you'll be able to get the contractor's rate that we pay from him directly.
Which would
So
be a
that'd be
discounted rate.
Right. That'll be included in the letter. Just to keep everybody abreast of what's going on with our income tax refund, I've created an application refund, the refund application, and I've given it to the Regional Income Tax Agency for their review. I'm waiting to see what their thoughts. They were supposed to meet this past Wednesday, and then they're going to be meeting, setting up a meeting with us to discuss what their thoughts were, and they still haven't decided whether or not they're going to be helping us out, but I'm hoping that's the case. And then the last thing I have is that we are also working on the 2018 budget, so hopefully we can be ready for the various meetings that we have scheduled, and it'll be a nice smooth transition from 17 to 18. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Rhonda, I do have a couple questions. First, let me add my congratulations on the Auditor of State Award to you and your staff. It was, I think, well-deserved based on what I've seen. Let me ask you a couple questions as you were kind enough to send out the financial report. And I was looking through trying to see how we're doing in terms of execution. One area I'm a little concerned about is the fire department overtime is sitting at basically almost 100%.
Correct.
And that led me to another question. I was trying to assess how much of that is due to the additional activities related to the contracts.
I think what's happening, though, is that the part-time employees, I can't speak for the fire department exactly, but the part-time employees that are being called in may not necessarily be coming in. So that means that the full-time employees have to cover. So what we're doing is since we're not paying anybody on a part-time wage, we're moving that money and using it for overtime. So the money is either being used for part-time salaries and or for overtime.
So the part-time is executing at about 71%, which is a little high, but not terrible. What do we have a way of and this is just a broader question, do we have a way of tracking the costs related to the contract so that we know which costs are related to those areas of the contract and which ones are Macedonia costs?
We would have to create a cost center, I think, to do that,
Yeah.
which we did not do this year.
All right, so we don't have a cost center at this point.
We do not.
And one other question, and then we'll move on. Do you have a cost center for the Veterans Memorial Park, of what we've done and what parts we're responsible for?
I know that there's a fund that has been, where money was donated and paid for out of there.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just.
Do we have the city part of it is what I'm asking?
No, we don't have a separate.
I'd like to.
Because I wouldn't know.
I'd
Well,
like to see that.
I guess-
Okay, thank you.
Just to make sure that that's clear, is that we have obviously received donations and/or grants that have supported the Memorial Park, and one of those contributions was through NOPEC,
Right.
which went into the park, and we have been drawing down on those monies for much of the things. Now, obviously, our labor is, if that's the question you're asking, how much labor did we put in there?
Well, that's part of it, yes.
That's, I mean, our operation, it's built within our operation, so it's not anything over and above that, so.
What I think is that a cost center would be useful, particularly on the fire department issues, and this would be useful also, but, let's, at any rate, that's what my question to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Rob,
Thank you, Mayor. No report on the fire department side.
thanks. Mark, you have anything?
No report.
John, would you like to say something? Oh. Come on up, John.
Yeah, you're going to have to come up here.
I'll slide in,
I think we achieved a milestone here at the Longwood Manor. We had a safety inspection of the house done last Friday, and we're in pretty good shape. We got a report from Chief Black, and there's some items that have to be addressed to improve the safety, which we looked at that, and we've sent a letter to the mayor on how, we think some of them we can do, some of them the city definitely has to do. Hoping that he could assign those, and we could get those done by, we're looking for October 24th, because the chief said in his report that we're now, we can be open for tours, up to 15 people on through the first floor of the house. So we'd like to implement that. We'd like to do the first one October 29th, which is a Sunday, between 1 and 5 p.m. So thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks these guys here. It's interesting, we have a Veterans Memorial. We also now have a Veterans Home that's been restored. The Colonel was a veteran of both World Wars. So, I think John can find the time capsule, because he found the water shut off and the water pipe for the Longwood Manor, which nobody knew where that was. So I think he's the man to do that. Let's see, our Deb Bukowski's not here. We were also, we've discussed with one of the council people about possibly a veterans, a short ceremony on Veterans Day. I'm not going to discuss that now because she's not here, and I'm not sure where we're at with that. But we've definitely made progress, and this was a real milestone for the Longwood Manor. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Unfinished.
Okay, is there any unfinished business? Any new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Thank you all for being here. Drive carefully.